Ja, okay, das ist Nummer 16. Nicht weiter gucken. Dann reden wir wohl weiter. Things at the station were pretty hectic, but I managed to get some info. Let me fill you in. Thanks. The floor's yours. A total of 3 mysterious deaths were confirmed in the area, including the one in this park. So let's start with that one, the young man we found here. He's been identified as Shogooki, 25 years old, a regular all-office worker who worked around here. He died asphyxiation due to water in the lungs. He drowned. Alter. He drowned in the middle of the park? That's not possible. It's gotta be a curse we're dealing with here. About that, boss, isn't this park associated with one of those 7 mysteries too? Das war doch Whispering Canal, das war doch das, was er auch gekriegt hat, ne? That's right, the Whispering Canal. It does seems like there'd be a link between a canal and death by drowning, don't you think? Sharp thinking, Ario. You're starting to get the hang of this. So let's assume they're related. What's next? Before that, the body of a woman was found behind a residential complex in Kamisawa. The victim has been identified as Tawako Hayashi, 29 years old. She was an officer worker who lived on her own in the area. As for the cause of death, well, yes. The entirety of her body was crushed by some kind of strong external force. No murder weapon was discovered in the area, but considering the way she was found, we're looking for something large, flat and heavy that could have crushed her in one fell swoop. Hang on, are you saying she was stepped on, meaning... Exactly, crushing is the food washing mention's modus operandi. The place the body was discovered is also known to be related to the 7 mysteries. Then, if this Namigaki's doing, shit, I knew he'd used it. Judging by the amount of soul tracks, the victim was just a regular person, not a curse bearer. Guess we should report this to Paranormal Affairs. Got it. And as for the third victim, he was identified as Kohai Jonoji, 32, a teacher at Komagata High School. He was found in the school's courtyard. Cause of death appears to be external trauma from a fall or heavy blow. The impact crushed his arms and legs. Since he was found in the middle of courtyard, he couldn't have fallen from the gymnasium or the main building. A teacher dying at school. And not just any school. Komagata's houses one of the 7 mysteries. Ist das? Right, is where the fool's processions is supposed to be. It's too big of a coincidence. We can't rule out the possibility that this death was also the work of a curse. I see. Either way, it seems all 3 victims can be tied to the 7 mysteries. There's probably a curse bearer at the center of it all, pulling the strings. But you've got a point. All these strange deaths do point in one direction. That's right, and Hajime's case wasn't all that different either. He also died of mysterious cause in a place connected to the 7 mysteries. Problem is that the time doesn't match up. He died before the curses were activated. Could he have been hit by a different curse? One that didn't have anything to do with the 7 mysteries? That's the thought, but if that were the case, we'd be dealing with a powerful practitioner, one who could pull off a curse like that without using a curse stone. There aren't many people in this day and age who could do something like that. Oh, really? I see. I don't know too much about that stuff. I'd be more surprised if you did. Well, looking at these deaths, it seems like many of the curse bearers acted last night, but we can't rule out that there were more killings from which the bodies haven't been found. Yikes, I hadn't thought of that. But there's one silver lining. Judging by my own curse stone, it seems that the curses can't be activated while the sun's out. Oh, that's great news. So basically, we're safe during the daytime? Exactly. It's also likely why Lenshima gave us till dusk. Ah, he must have known the curse stones couldn't be used during the day. Either way, we got till nightfall to settle this. It's time we flushed out the other curse barriers. Aye aye, boss, let's do this. At the moment, we only know the identifier of 4 curse barriers, you included. Yutaro Namigaki had the food washing mansion, and Hideki Yaraishi had the ever burning lantern. We've got both of their curse stones. And then there's Najima, who claims he has the one sided read. Yeah, that about sums it up. We'd better figure out who the remaining 5 are quick. How should we go about looking for them? There's no point in searching blindly without a lead. Let's focus on other things for now. Tracking down Najima may lead us to the other curse bearers too. Either way, he should be our top priority. He could do some real damage if we don't get him. I also want to look a little more into Yoshimi. I've got a little, I've got a feeling there's some connection there. Aye, aye, boss. Sounds like we've got our work cut out for us. I asked around Sumida's community safety bureau where Yoshima was stationed. It seems like he was investigating the apparent suicide of a girl named Michio Shiraishi. Ah, yeah, I heard about that. He was trying to determine whether it really was a suicide, looking into the height of the building, the force of the impact, her wounds, all that. He must suspected some kind of foul play, cause he ordered a full investigation, but it already been deemed a suicide and his superiors told him not to go stirring things up. Huh, what was the evidence? Well, according to the report I found on his desk last night, the body was found at the foot of a building, ways away from the road. There was no evidence of vehicular collision, so it was ruled a suicide, but he thought there was more to it. Yes, a truck or other flat-faced vehicle traveling at high speeds could inflict similar damage. In other words, sometimes a traffic accident can look an awful lot like a fall. So there's a chance that it wasn't a suicide. But what a terrible way to go. There were no brake marks on the road, meaning it would been a hit and run. The vehicle could hit her without slowing down at all. This is turning into quite the grisly case. But the vehicle couldn't have some out from a collision like that unchecked. Exactly, so I asked the traffic bureau to keep an eye out for any vehicle with frontal damage, but I haven't heard back from them yet. I don't think they're looking very hard. So we've got no proof. That said, if it was a traffic accident rather than a suicide, it's possible that someone silenced Yoshimi because he was on the verge of discovering the truth. That's true. You think the driver is the one who did him in? No, not quite. Yoshimi had already talked to forensics and the traffic bureau, right? His test wouldn't have covered things up. You're right on that. Even if the suicide was a cover-up for a hit and run, it doesn't seem like enough reason to kill a cop. Hmm. Oh, that's right, unrelated, but I got something else too. I managed to get a hold of Michio Shiraishi's address. Yoshimi went there a bunch over the course of his investigation. Might be a good idea for us to drop by too. Good thinking. Hopefully that give us some more leads. Alright, let's move on to the next topic. Remember the girl Yoshimi met with the day he died, one Hitomi Okuda? Community safety didn't have any contact information for her on hand, not even an address. Well, they had her parents' information, but when I called, they said they hadn't heard from her in a month. Lots of family issues from the sound of it. They even said they didn't want anything to do with her anymore. That said, she still goes to school once in a while, so we might be able to find her there. Not sure we really have the time for a stakeout right now, but she could be a key witness. Can we have community safe track her down for us? We can ask, but it might be tricky to get it done today. For starters, Komagata High School is closed today. Ah, because of the teacher that died? That's right. Alright. But if it's not something we can do today, we may have to forget about it. Let's move on then. I got some information about Yoshimi's fiancée from Community Safety. Her name is Mayu Shotzawa, 27 years old. She works as a beautician in the area. Look, I even managed to get a picture of her. She sure is a beauty. But, oh boy, here it comes. But what? Community Safety hasn't been able to contact her since Yoshimi died. Not by phone or at her house. In other words, no response. Dead silence. There it is. Can't things just be easy for once? It's definitely starting to look suspect. A crime of passion, perhaps? Hmm? It is fairly common for people to be killed by a lover of a spouse, but Yoshimi was well liked and they'd been together for over 10 years. You never know. Things could be different behind closed doors. I guess so. But we'll have to consider the opposite scenario too. It could be that the same person who was out for Yoshimi is after his fiancée as well. She could be in danger. You're right, either way, she's important to the case. HQ already has people looking for her. We'll know as soon as she's found. HQ was mobilized as a search unit for Nijima, but so far we haven't received any word. Guessing wasn't at home or at work. About that, apparently he vacated his last known address a week ago. You serious? So we have no idea where he lives? It gets worse. I checked in with the factory he was working at. They told me he was only there for a month before he quit. Hold on a second, you're telling me nobody caught that? Well, I had the same thought, so I spoke to his probation officer. Turns out he'd been doing house visits and interviews but never bothered checking on his workplace. He also said he'd lost track of Nishima when he moved to a new place. Jeez, that's just sloppy. I've heard that they're given parole to just about anyone there these days cause they're running out of room in the prisons, which also means there aren't enough probation officers to go around. Dude's probably overworked. So Nejima got to fuck about unsupervised. Goddammit. That asshole is annoyingly good at faking remorse or insanity, whatever the situation calls for. Back when I arrested him all those years ago, just talking to him left a bad taste in my mouth. He's probably hiding under a false name, which will make it hard to track him down. That explained why he so presently made contact. That asshole. He's mocking us. Well, for now, the paperwork to circulate his name and mug shot is being filled. That's gonna take way too long. We only have until dusk. Speaking of Nejima, yeah, did you manage to reach your daughter? It'd be best to put her into protective custody as soon as possible. Not yet. I can't reach her. They called, but she's not picking up. Wasn't home when they went to the house either. That's not good. Does that mean she never came home? And why weren't you the one trying to reach her? Shut up, I don't have her contact info. Alright. Damn, she really doesn't trust you, huh? Either way, I told her mother that it was an emergency and that we'd send an officer to find her and get her to safety. She was real reluctant, but I got her to agree. I guess that explains why you got divorced. But if you, her former father, can find her, how the hell did Nijima do it? Former? Oh, that cuts deep. Jake, sorry. It just kinda slipped out. Anyway, I suspect it has something to do with his cursed echo. Back on topic already, huh? He said his curse could kill a lot of people in a short time. It may even allow him to act from a distance. I see. The one-sided read. What was that story about again? Something about a man stalking a woman who goes insane and chops her up? Ah, right, one of the more gruesome of the 7 mysteries. As for Nejima's whereabouts, all we can do is throw more people at it till we find something. I'll check in with HQ frequently to see if they've got any updates. And that's about it. Shall we continue our investigation? We could go to Komagata High School to look into Hitomi Okuda or to Michio Shiraishi's house to find out more about her. Was war das? Oh, ich bin auf dem Dings gekommen. Fernbedienung. So, jetzt machen wir jetzt erstmal da weiter oder machen wir erstmal da weiter? Ich will Fancy Sushi. Okay. Wir machen erstmal hier weiter. Solange wir hier weitermachen können, machen wir hier weiter. Wo gehen wir als erstes hin? Erstmal dahin. Tetsuo Tsutsumi, 9 AM, Komagata High School. Here we are, Komagata High School. Classes are suspended for the day, so the students are just kinda wandering around aimlessly. The news of the dead teacher has also attracted a fair share of rubberneckers. The atmosphere is kinda tense with this many cops around. Komagata High Gymnasium also serves as a polling place and evacuation center. A lot of the buildings around here are still made of wood, but this place looks safe and sturdy. The school gate will stay locked while forensics inspect the scenes of incident. Looks like they're still busy. Let's talk to the person in charge later. Yoshimi also looked out for these students as a Sumida city officer. Juvenile delinquency has been a growing problem for years now. This school is no exception. This place isn't only connected to the case because the students were under Yoshimi's jurisdiction. It's also the site of the fool's procession, and of course where the teacher was killed. Seems like a likely place to find some clues, don't you think? Alright, speaking of schools, what is it? You said Paranormal Affairs can't help us right now, so why don't we get